I feel as if I've been really face palming a lot in my videos recently? Is it just me or what? Okay, so a lot of stuff has happened in about the last week or so. Ben Affleck was revealed on set of the new Batman vs Superman movie in this full Batman costume. Also, Batmobile was revealed in that movie. The official title for Batman vs Superman movie got released, which is Batman vs Superman: Dawn for Justice, or Dawn of Justice, whatever. A new trailer for Batman Arkham Knight got released recently. And what have I been doing instead of talking about all the stuff I just mentioned? Feeling sorry for myself, because I have to review this piece of shit. Yeah, this movie will do that to you. Sad fact, but fact nonetheless. I mean, I really want to blame my lack of videos for, my shitty internet service and, whatever. And I want to blame it on that for, my lack of videos and whatnot. But honestly, that is the case, but one of the other cases is I just didn't want to review this piece of shit. I knew. I knew if I made a bunch of videos, I would eventually have to get to this piece of shit, but pull together, goddammit. I don't care. You know what? I'm sick of hiding. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm sick of hiding in the fucking shadows, in the corner, crying, sulking, and I have to review this piece of shit. You know what? I'm just gonna man up and just fucking do it already. I'm just gonna fucking review this piece of shit and just get the fuck over with. But it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. It was hard enough to sit through this pathetic piece of shit that they call film, but it's gonna be even worse. Worse. I have to recall bullshit from this movie. Crying's gonna sand in my eye. Or shit in my eye. Shit that was thrown from Brett Ratner himself and all the fans of the X-Men franchise. Guys, what this movie was, essentially. Just a giant fuck you to everybody who loved the X-Men movies, or hell, even loved the comic books, especially the ones with the comic book. God damn it. Fuck this movie. Fuck Brett Ratner. Fuck anyone who's associated with this movie. Well, that's not true. The acting's good, at least, which is surprising given, again, the director, Brett Ratner, who wasn't the director of the first two X-Men movies. The first two directors of the X-Men movies, the first director of the X-Men movies, Bryan Singer, left this movie and went to go direct Superman Returns. And he fucked up that franchise, too. So, thanks, Brett Ratner. I'm so glad to come back and saving the franchise with Days of Future Past. Oh, great. Yeah, thanks. You fucked us over with this movie, and now you think you can just come back and just fix everything? Yeah, right. Yeah, fucked. I mean, I should probably be really hating Bryan Singer right now for recent events that I probably can't talk about for legal reasons, but no, I'm just gonna focus on the stuff that's really pretty much meaningless. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nerds to you. Okay, I really need to get into the sewer here. It's like 4 minutes already. Okay, yeah, this movie sucks. I hate this movie with all my heart, and I know a while back I may have mentioned that I really liked the movie, that I didn't mind a lot of the faults in this movie. I was dumb. I mean, I still am dumb, but in some aspects. But I was a kid, and I didn't know better about movies and stuff like that. At that point, I thought, what? Um, shit, I don't know. I don't know. I had no joke for that. But whatever. Um, at that point in age, I thought X Men First Class, X Men The Last Stand was a good movie. So yeah. A while back, I said that I did enjoy this movie, but again, that was way back when I was a kid, and I didn't really know too much about know any better about movies or whatnot. So yeah, watching this recently for my review for the anticipation of Days of Future Past, yeah, this isn't good at all. And from that point, when I was a kid, and to the point now, I have read actually a lot of the source material for of the source material that was supposedly used for this movie, such as the Phoenix Saga, the Cure Saga, the Dark Phoenix Saga, and so on and so forth. Yeah, this movie really pains me every single time I watch it. After reading those great stories being and seeing them being fucked over in this movie, yeah, I hate this movie with all my heart. But the thing about this movie is, this is all the same problems with Spider-Man 3, minus Tobey Maguire dancing, but it's pretty much all the same problems with Spider-Man 3. The main problem with Spider-Man 3, and even Amazing Spider-Man 2 for that matter, is that there was no story. There was nothing there at all besides, all the plot was, all the story was whoever's villain Spider-Man was fighting at that point, and that was it. And it's also, the other major problem was the fact that there was just too many clusterfuck storylines that did not need to be in the movie. I mean, there was like a bajillion storylines in both those movies, and you could have literally taken one, used it for one movie, and then taken the two other ones and used them for two other movies. There's just so much here that could be used for so many other movies, but instead of just clusterfucking into this one horrible movie. And again, it doesn't make it at all interesting. It doesn't make it, great or cool or anything. It doesn't please the fanboys, more pisses us off, and it just shows you that you guys have no idea how to direct a movie or write one for that matter. So yeah, it's just essentially Spider-Man 3 done over again. Well, actually, this came out a year before Spider-Man 3, I guess. Yes, yeah, '06. So yeah, it was like Spider-Man 3 the year before Spider-Man 3. So that 2006-07 period was really shit, period for comic book movies. This and Superman Returns came out in the same summer, so yeah, pretty bad year for comic book movies, I guess. Can't really think of any other comic book movie that came out in that same year or that same summer for that matter. So yeah, pretty shit year for comic book movies that year, and the next year because you had Ghost Rider and Spider-Man 3, but that's again neither here nor there. So yeah, what the fuck sucks about this movie so much? Well, again, I mentioned all the clusterfuck storylines in the movie, but not only are they clusterfucked into the movie and have absolutely no reason to be in the movie, are just there for completely unnecessary reasons, but they also completely fuck up the storyline for the movie too. Yeah, I'm so a little bit sick too, so sorry about that. But yeah, I mentioned the Phoenix Saga in this movie, and that was again probably one of the biggest storylines from the X-Men comics, which is the Phoenix Saga. And again, they completely fuck it up in this movie again. They also fuck up the Cure story, which was written by Joss Whedon in these movies. Which, if they're gonna use a Joss Whedon written X-Men story, why the fuck didn't they just get Joss Whedon to direct the movies? He would probably have directed a better, X-Men film than Brett Ratner. And in fact, he'd probably make a better X-Men movie than even Bryan Singer. I mean, I like the first two X-Men movies and all, but Joss Whedon probably would have made a far superior X-Men movie than he would. I think the Avengers movie, the Avengers has proven that he can make a team-up superhero movie too, so that would have been interesting to see. They also fuck up a lot of characters, like, again, I mentioned Phoenix, and they don't even have some characters from the last movie show up, like Nightcrawler or whoever. They fuck up, they fuck up, what's his name? Cyclops. They fuck up, Juggernaut. They fuck up Kitty Pryde. They fuck up, the Morlocks. They fucked up Jimmy Leach from the comic books. They pretty much fuck up anything that's in this movie they fuck up. They also fucked up Angel. There's just a bajillion problems with this movie, and there's almost nothing good at all. So, as you guys all know, I am a fair person when it comes to reviewing a movie. If I'm reviewing especially a bad film, I'll try to find some of the stuff that I did, enjoy somewhat in a movie. So, before I get into all the bad stuff in the movie, I'm just going to try and talk about, emphasis on try and talk about all the good things or all the stuff that I found alright in the movie. Don't worry, this will be a really short segment. The acting. I thought the acting was alright, to be fair. I mean, again, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, he is Wolverine. As far as I know, there's no other man on the planet who can actually play Wolverine, so no need there. I also thought Halle Berry was pretty good as Storm in this one, especially. I thought she was actually sort of taking center stage in these movies. She was, again, one of the many kids that got, shoved aside in the other two movies, so I actually kind of like her role in this movie. Although, in the first two movies, especially the first one, she had this African accent in the movie, and then it in this movie officially just dropped. Like she's not even trying anymore. So I thought that was pretty inconsistent. I also liked what was it? Casting. I want to talk about. I loved Ellen Page as Kitty Pryde or Shadowcat. I thought she was great. I thought they were really good casting decisions. Some people disagree. I thought she was great. I thought she looked like the character. That she acted like the character. I liked her. I thought she was, that was a great casting decision on the casting director's part or Brett Ratner's part. And one of the only good things in this movie that he actually contributed to, maybe. And I just love Ellen Page as an actress, so I loved her in this movie. Also, Kelsey Grammer as Beast couldn't have casted it any better. Again, like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, I don't think anyone else can really play Beast in any X-Men movies. In fact, I actually hear some rumors that he's going to make some sort of a cameo appearance in Days of Future Past. Can't wait to see that. It's probably going to be worth the price of admission alone. Here, he just looks like Beast. Again, it's the character fully captured. It's one of the only times in a movie where I actually said, that's not an actor as, so-and-so. That is fucking Beast, like on the screen, fully realized. No other comparison. That is him right there. Again, one of the only good things about this movie. I mean, it's just so awesome seeing him be an absolute badass and just kicking everyone's ass in the movie, and then him being like an intellectual, sophisticated, government man. I thought that was great. Again, the character perfectly realized. Um, for the most part, even though they fucked up a lot of the Phoenix, story in the movie, I thought the action was actually kind of cool with G. She actually did look kind of threatening and weird when she was from the Dark Phoenix. I like that for the most part. And also, again, casting. Vinnie Jones, I believe, as Juggernaut was, again, perfect casting decision. One of the only moments in the comic book where I actually said, that's not so-and-so as so-and-so. That is, Juggernaut fully realized perfectly. And they also do have the fan favorite line. Juggernaut bitch in the movie, so that does get it, get me a little bit giddy. Although, when I was a kid, I could have fucking sworn he said, I'm the janitor, bitch, which really confused the shit out of me when I was a kid. So I'm glad that I now understand the joke a little bit more now that I'm older and I've read the comic books and everything. So, yeah, I'm the janitor, bitch. That's it's just as funny, it just doesn't make too much sense. So again, yeah, that probably about ends it for the stuff I actually did like in the movie. All the other people in the movie did good for acting. James Morrison, for what little screen time he had in the movie, he did good. Again, he was barely in the movie, so it didn't matter. Again, Sir Patrick Stewart himself as Professor X. Again, what little screen time he had, he did good. Ian McKellen as Magneto did great. The casting, the acting was fine. The problem again was there's no story, and all they try to do is, hey, we don't have a story. We have nothing to go to. We have nowhere to go from here. Just throw in shit from the comic books because we have nothing to do and nowhere to go to. That's something that I hate. Well, there was one thing I did want to mention that was good. I like that the X-Men at the end were actually, some of the X-Men that they were X-Men, but they didn't have the suits and they weren't really fighting alongside the other main X-Men, like Iceman and Kitty Pryde and even Rogue a little bit in Colossus. That was really awesome seeing him in the movie. I like seeing them, get together at the end and actually become, the X-Men and like the fan favorite X-Men from the comic books. That's something that I really did like towards the end of the movie. I like seeing the sideline X-Men from the other movie actually sort of come together and get their sort of time to shine. Except for Colossus, he was incredibly just shoved and shoehorned into the movie. But for what we did see him in, he looked pretty cool. He did some cool stuff in it, but regardless, he still was just shoehorned in and very shoved to the side and not at all developed one bit. Let's just get the stuff I didn't like. Some of the stuff I didn't like. Where the fuck was Nightcrawler? I just want to say right here, Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men by far. I mean, I know some people will say, oh, why not Wolverine or why not Gambit? Nightcrawler was always badass to me. Okay, Nightcrawler always had the coolest design to me for the X-Men. He always had the coolest power to me. He can teleport, and he was really badass, and he had a cool accent and everything, and he had a cool backstory with Mystique being his mom. That was always cool to me. That's where he gets his blue color from. He was always just the best. He was always my favorite X-Men. For me personally, it's one of the reasons why I love X2 so much. Just because he looked so badass in the movie, and Jim Cummings did. Is it Jim Cummings or? Well, I don't exactly remember the actor's name, but if that was the actor's name, I guess it's it. If it wasn't that, I apologize. But that was always one of the things I loved about X2 so much. Where the fuck was he in this movie? I mean, he doesn't show up right at all, and it's bad that he doesn't show up at all. But the least that they can do, and I've been saying this a lot about a lot of comic movies, just a lot about a lot of movies and sequels in general, is that if a character doesn't show up, give it at least a passing mention. Like, don't show them in why they didn't show up. Just give us a passing mention of why they didn't show up. It's the easiest fucking thing to do. Admittedly, it's really lazy, and I'm still pissed off that said character didn't show up in the movie, but at least you're giving us an explanation of why he isn't in the movie. They don't even try to explain it in this movie. Do you want to know how you can find out that, Nightcrawler isn't in this movie? You have to play this shitty movie licensed game, X-Men 3, the official game, in order to find that out. And in the game, he apparently said that something like he wants to be a pacifist, or he's not all about violence, or some bullshit like that. Even though that didn't keep him from joining the X-Men at the end of the second movie. And again, if you can mention that in the stupid game, why couldn't you just mention that here? Like, why not have one character walk in and say, "Oh, hey, where's that blue dude, Nightcrawler? Oh, he left because he's a pacifist now. Oh, okay." Simple as that. I just did it. Why couldn't this $100 million made for big audiences Hollywood movie mention that? I mean, I just did. Why couldn't they? Something that always bothered me about the movie. Even when I was a kid, I was just like, "What the fuck's Nightcrawler?" And it always pissed me off about this movie. And again, let's get to the Phoenix. The Phoenix. Now, I read the Phoenix Saga, and again, it's one of the main things why I hate this movie so much. But the Phoenix Saga in the comic books, I can see why they didn't go exactly with what they did in the Phoenix Saga. From what I remember, um, it's a really complicated story, so I can see why they didn't go exactly with that storyline from the comics for this movie. In the comics, it was something like the X-Men go to space. You can already see why they didn't do that. The X-Men go to space, and she apparently gets some radiation poisoning, and that sort of unlocks this power that sort of her, you know, um, sort of unlocks this ultimate power that she's always had for a while, and it turns her into the Phoenix, and apparently also unlocks this symbiotic being, again, kind of like Spider-Man 3 with the symbiote, kind of unlocks the symbiotic being which turns Jean crazy and turns her into the Dark Phoenix, and this is where we enter the Dark Phoenix saga, and she destroys like this entire solar system and kills like all the people in the solar system, and Jean sort of comes back, she learns what she did, and she commits suicide, and with her powers after learning what she did. So that's a lot to take in. That is a whole, two big story arcs that, could fit its own movie, but you can sort of see where and why they didn't do exactly that from the comic books. But we didn't ask for them to do exactly that from the comic books. We just wanted the bare minimum of what made that story so great. The Phoenix, the corruption of Jean Grey, and all that stuff. And it was kind of bullshit seeing her be brought back from the dead just to die again. It was just, again, bullshit. And they don't even do it to the fullest potential. All she really does is she lifts shit up and turns shit into confetti, even though the Phoenix was, again, a fire bird. It was like fire powers, and then she burnt shit, and she lit shit on fire, and she just sort of turns stuff into confetti. And that's it. She just has confetti powers in the movie. And in the movie, they do keep the whole, her power was kind of unlocked, but, from the comic books, but it was always this schizophrenic, weird, multiple personality disorder thing, and not just this thing that got unlocked. It was just, she was just crazy the whole time. That's bullshit. That is so, it's this really interesting thing that, in the comic books, I remember it was her love for Sky. It was her love for Cyclops that unlocked this ultimate power. That was a thing in the comic books. It was the spaceship that they went to, that they used to get into space, was falling, and her love for Scott, her love for all the other X Men, you know, unlocked this power that saved them all, that saved them from dying. That's what unlocked the Phoenix. That's what unlocked the Dark Phoenix too. And here it's just she was just crazy the whole time. How uninteresting is that? How that's what they did in X2. That they were sort of leading up to that. Her love for Scott and her love for all the other X Men saved them from being drowned at Alkali Lake. That they just did it right there. They just did the Earthbound, very compacted, very what's the word? Very easy to do. I guess I'll say version of that story. They just did that. They did that there. They perfectly set it up, and then in this movie, it's just she's just crazy the whole time. Again, how uninteresting is that? It's that it's not her love that it's not her love for her friends that unlocked this ultimate power that ironically happens to be a very dark, vicious power. It's just she's just crazy. She's just this bullshit class 5 mutant thing. And that's another thing in this movie. They just introduced this class system of mutants that was never mentioned before, and it sounds so what's the word? It sounds so contrived. Like it's kind of like the whole prophecy thing in movies where it's you're the chosen one. There's this ancient prophecy that foretells that this person will save the world. It's like that bullshit where it's like class 5, danger level or class 5 mutant or whatever. And they just bring it into this movie without any explanation what it is or how exactly it's grouped. They never mentioned in the first 2 movies. It's not even a thing in the X-Men comic book movie. It's just a thing made up for this piece of shit movie. And they mentioned that she's a class 5 mutant. That's why she's crazy and schizophrenic, and that's why she's unlocked this power. It's the most contrived bullshit that you've ever heard in a comic book movie, and it's just so uninteresting to see this Phoenix story just dumbed down to she's just crazy. That's so uninteresting and just so not at all as creative as it was from the comic books. It actually made it a very tragic fall from grace with this character, and here it's just she's just crazy. It's so just uninteresting, and they also shove in the Cure storyline, which again written by Joss Whedon, which in the story the Cure storyline actually happened like this. The Cure turned a lot of the mutants into followers of Apocalypse, who is like the big bad X-Men villain, even worse than like Magneto. It's like this ancient prophecy mutant figure who they will be doing in X-Men Apocalypse. It's officially confirmed. Can't wait to see that movie. Brian Singer's doing it too. Like they even turned Archangel or Angel took the Cure and he turned into Archangel and became a follower of Apocalypse. Not done the way it is here. The Cure is just god, that really fucking pissed me off. The whole Cure storyline has no fucking reason to be in the movie and is totally contradicted and negated at the very fucking end of the movie. The whole movie, the entire movie, from the very beginning of the movie was just, the Cure, and it's gonna, wipe out, mutant kind, and it's just gonna ruin us entirely. And what do they do at the end of the movie? They show Magneto, who got the Cure at the end of the movie, move a chess piece, move this little magnet chess piece, which just, again, contradicted itself entirely. The whole movie, the whole fucking story of the movie, with all this Cure bullshit, all this fighting for, your decision, and, fighting for, the mutant kind and everything. What happens? The Cure doesn't matter. Didn't work. It only worked momentarily. Fuck you. Just fuck you. That's like at I don't even have a comparison to it. That's just your entire movie's plot, your entire movie's story. It's just didn't matter. He got hit with a Cure. He got hit with the Cure. No, he didn't. Just redo, just reset button. No, you cannot fucking do that movie. You cannot fucking do that. That's like in a movie where you have this whole big giant grand adventure, this big thing where characters learn something about each other, and then what happened? It was all a fucking dream. That's the equivalent here. That's like, hey, this big giant battle for, mutant kind and whatever. This big giant battle for mutants' rights to stay mutants and not just be turned into regular everyday humans. Didn't matter because it didn't really work in the end. Just fuck you, movie. Just fuck you. If you didn't want Magneto to be a human, then why have the Cure storyline? Why have him become a human? Why not just put him in jail again? Like, just put him in the plastic, jail like in the first movie. Just do something like that. You're just gonna contradict yourself at the end. You shouldn't have had Magneto be apparently, turned into a human. Just fuck you, movie. And another thing that really pissed me off, Cyclops. If you thought that he was shoehorned or shoved to the side, like a lot of other characters in the first two X-Men movies, get a load of this. He dies in the first 10 minutes. So yeah, not only was he barely in the other two X-Men movies, and he barely did jack shit in those movies, he fucking dies in this movie. The first 10 minutes. Yeah, the leader of the X-Men, the guy who's supposed to lead all the X-Men into battle and tell them what to do and, be the leader, be there for everybody in their time of need, gets killed in the first 10 minutes. Yeah. And it's an off-screen, death too. Yeah, an off-screen death too. They couldn't even have the courtesy of showing one of our favorite characters die with dignity. They had to mention his death off-screen. Yeah. And the reason for this is because James Marsden, the actor who portrayed Cyclops in these X-Men movies, he didn't feel comfortable doing an X-Men movie without Bryan Singer, and trust me, if I was a movie with Brett Ratner too, I wouldn't blame him. So he wanted to go do Superman Returns with Bryan Singer in favor of this movie, and guess what? In that movie too, he didn't have a role in that movie either. Okay, he had a shit bare minimum role in that movie too as the stepdad, who was trying to take over Superman's role as this one kid's dad. So he immediately dropped the role in this movie as the likable superhero leader to go be the douchebag stepdad that we're all going to hate by the end of the movie. And that smart decision there, James. Give your agent a raise, definitely. And we don't even really get an explanation of how exactly he died. I guess we're just left to assume that, again, confetti. They don't even explain how Jean was brought back. I think she died in the comic books, and they explain how she died in that, but they never explain how she died here. We just see Cyclops just take off his glasses, shoot the lake, and she's brought back to life. No explanation how. She's just there. Okay, fine. And again, the movie has so many goddamn pointless deaths in it. It really fucking does. Again, I mentioned Jean Grey being brought back from the dead just to die again, but Cyclops dies for no reason. I mean, I know that the actor didn't want to come and do this movie, and he just showed up a little bit, but there was no... Well, here's the thing. If Cyclops was barely utilized in the first two movies, it was going to be barely utilized here, just fucking recast it, because he was barely memorable in the first two movies. What would make us notice the recast? I think the recast would actually be... It's one of the only moments where I actually really want to lobby for a recast, because he didn't do anything in the first movie, so just recast it, and it really wouldn't matter that much. So you should have just recasted it, okay? It's one of the only moments where actually using a recast is in order. In Professor X, no reason for him dying. Again, it's something that's contradicted at the very end of the movie, well, the post-credits, but it's something that's contradicted at the end. He dies. Very bad. Again, for no reason, no fucking reason to kill him off at all. I mean, when I was a kid and I was watching this movie, I was just like, is there really any reason that you needed to kill the bald dude? Is there really any reason you needed to kill Mr. Clean on wheels? You didn't need to. You could have just kept him, and if you're going to have him be brought back in a post-credit scene, you just contradicted yourself. You just shot yourself in the foot. You just pretty much said, yeah, we killed this character for no reason. Again, it shows that they have no idea how to write a fucking movie. It just shows you, hey, you know what really adds drama? Killing people. No, it doesn't. Like, sometimes it does when it's necessary, when it's built up, when it actually affects the story and affects the characters. But when it's just just to be there, just to kill off a character, it just seems really unnecessary, which it is here. It's just unnecessary. Um, it was unnecessary to kill off Cyclops. It was unnecessary to kill off Professor X. Just and that was another thing. I keep on complaining about these X-Men movies, them just being vehicles for Wolverine, and this is especially that because towards the end of the movie, he ends up killing Jean Grey's